I'm JT Russell, playing with Team Sloppy Labwork. I think this is our fifth coat playing under this banner. I guess some of us have been in and out with the New York folks, and we've kind of mixed things up in the past. But the three of us on Sloppy Labwork right now, I think this is our fourth or fifth coat together. So it's been a lot of fun. We've really enjoyed it, um, and kind of excited to be playing in the later rounds here and hopefully making a playoff berth. But that's what's on the line, so it's very exciting. Um, this this round, I'm playing kind of a funky deck. We were looking at our opponents' kind of previous rounds and the decks they had registered, and we kind of saw that they had, been playing very similar decks. Lots of pips, decently efficient, almost exclusively, or I think exclusively, KOTE and AOA, um, with some Heart of the Forest mixed in there as well. So I was kind of trying to pick a deck with that in mind. I landed on something that was very grindy, tries to bounce wind furnaces with snudges and draw the game out. And unfortunately, my opponent is playing a deck with a much better end game than me this round. So I find myself playing the rush deck role, but I've got full of Titans that want to reduce or increase key costs and key locks and such. So it's a very funky matchup. That's going to be fun. But yeah, it's going to be a good one, I hope. Yeah, so one of the things that I enjoy most about kind of the code events is getting to play the practice games with teammates. Hopefully the folks on your team are people you enjoy playing games with. So we'd get lots of practice games in. It's mostly an excuse to play together. I've played at least a handful, maybe between 5 and 10 practice games. Matchups looks pretty rough, but I've got winning chances, so it should be interesting. Kind of results have been all over the place. It's going to be a swingy matchup. Um, my opponent's deck looks good. I think hopeful though. Hopeful. Do I have any smack talk? Not really. Just wish them good luck. Maybe not as much luck as I get though. So that's what I'll say.
Hi, this is Karen Brown from the Final Swindle, and I am joined by
Woody, also from Final Swindle. Go Alpha.
Go Alpha. On our cook team we are the Final Swindle Alpha, along with Tyson, and the other team is Omega, to do a little homage to the card. Today we are presenting a really interesting matchup between Team Sloppy Labwork and Coxinha, which, for those of you that don't know, is this awesome Brazilian food, which is you basically take chicken and some other things, put them in dough and deep fry it. Seems delicious. Uh, so, we're recording this right before lunch.
True.
So it's all the more distracting. So I'm going to let Woody start us off by introducing us to the captain's deck on Team Sloppy Labwork.
All right, so I'm talking about Renato, Bureaucrat of the Paranoid Vortex. So where to start with this deck? Uh, I want to start with the logo simply because I like it. I think it's actually a quicker logos than indicated. With auto encoder and auto vac, there's going to be so many cards in the archives, plus eclectic inquiry. They're going to get keys up to 9 with that. Um, Cyber clone is a great card. Triple Titan engineer. Again, keys are going to cost a lot. I think. Um, Now the disc is interesting. Obviously, double Infernus. Um, Double Cinder, double Snudge. If you can pull out the Snudge and Furnace, that's going to be a big problem, I think, because this deck already has so much Amber control. Um, with the Autovac, the Universal Key Lock. I mean, the keys are just going to cost so much. And then if you're in furnacing multiple times, Skixuno for some, good creature control. And then again, moving over to Saurian, there is yet more key cost modulation with Faust plus double spoils, plus Chant of Hubris, like Strix, double Octavia. I imagine they're going to get Amber on stuff. Um, Brabble's another problem for Amber control. This deck just controls so much Amber. I see that being a problem, although it could maybe run into some issues with being like where is it going to get its own Amber from? But that's really the only downside I see. Otherwise, it's like a very defensive deck. Um, it wants you to generate Amber for sure. It wants you to put pips in your discards.
Yeah. The other thing that I'll kind of tack on to your analysis is the protection with the double cinder for your double
Mm,
snudge is
that's
so
true.
good.
Yeah.
The consistency of that play is really good. I think that Cyberclone is a massively underrated card in that you can just purge any problem creature. It's just so nasty. But I'll move to the Akoshina deck. I'm just very excited by high amber control decks. So that is just what I'm about. So moving on to this deck, Darius. Um, we have the Dis. There's no way to not talk about the first thing you see is the triple control of the
Yes.
week.
Oh my
It
God.
is, it's so that card in triplicate. I've seen it in so many good AOAs, and the reason that it's so good is it's only targeting your opponent's weakest creatures, which, especially when you're playing against mass mutation, they tend to be creatures with some sort of abilities, like for example those Fausts, the Citizen Shrix. They're just
Sure.
so nasty against MM because there's so many kind of small creatures. Uh, you then, of course, have the Pandemonium for your own little bit of amber control. Life Ward is massive.
Mm,
And then basically you've got double streak with your Life Ward. And if you can manage to get your own creatures to stick, you're looking at reducing your opponent's hand size as you're kind of cutting their creatures away, keeping them from playing creatures with the Dis. It's really nice where you're establishing board, trying to prevent them from doing so. The Logos double cut through research it's a pip, honestly.
yeah, it's so
uh,
true.
yeah, it's a
Especially
pip.
especially in this matchup. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pip. But the nastiest thing about this Logos is we've got a Hex Beyond with triple Titan Librarian and a Knowledge is Power. So the play here really is to build up the archive over time, and then you're going to be hopefully like Kip for 1,000,000,
Yeah.
which is so nice that this Logos can do that. That
Mm,
Amber production, the Amber production of that play is pretty nice. And then, of course, moving to the Untamed, you've got a Full Moon, a Key Charge, and Nature's Call, where you're going to be able to cash in any big Kip play that you do. You take a key, and then you're going to be able to produce enough Amber in the subsequent play to perhaps get like a Chodo Hazard key. So there are many, many kind of end game states because of the amount of archiving that you're doing and the amount of disrupting that you're doing. So you've got time to do your archiving kind of plays. But once
mm,
you've cashed that in for a Kip, you're going to get one key via the Kip Amber. You're going to get another key via the Untamed Stash that you're able to put away, right? So on paper, like if we're looking at the spider chart here, it doesn't look incredibly intimidating, but we're really talking about a deck that only needs to set up, get one key via any other way, and then it essentially has two keys if it's able to set up, right? So we can go to talking about the specific matchup here, but how do you see it shaken out?
I also want to tack on
Oh,
with
sure.
that Logos house with the memory chip as well
Oh, sure.
and helper bot. Potentially key charging during a Logos turn, um, or doing anything, right? Because helper bot's just gonna help you play whatever you need to. Um, I see that in this matchup to then draw it out to the matchup. Um, I think it could be overwhelming for Renato.
Yeah.
I just think it could. I mean, the Infernuses are great. The Cyberclone, like it. I don't know. It might be one of those matchups where it's like kind of generation versus control. But I think Darius is like a little faster. The Kip is going to be like just too much to handle. Um, but you probably will be forging at like 9 or 12 or whatever.
Right. Yeah, so I think that that's interesting. There's a couple ways in which Darius is a really good answer for what Renato is trying to do.
Hmm.
Um, I don't super care about my board. It would be nice to have it because I would be kind of building my archives as I'm reducing your hand. But for example, like the Infernuses are not going to be as effective against a deck that is. Thanks for shouting out that memory chip, by the way. Um, if I'm memory chipping cards every turn and setting up these big plays that are going to come out of hand, I'm not going to have the same kind of pips in my discard um, that I might if I was playing a more kind of traditional deck. Um, I think that the double spoils is going to be rather large, but again, we're playing into key cheats, so I think that Darius has a couple ways to dodge. Um, Now, let's say that you are able to kind of break my momentum with Darius, though. I don't see a way playing Darius, if you have grip, that I
That
can
you could
kind
come
of,
back.
yeah, that I can get away from that, right? So like if those Infernuses start to take off, or you
Right.
start to get that big line, it's not like I'm playing a deck that has heavy creature control, right?
Mm-hmm.
One, if I can nab that Nature's Call, maybe get 2 of those Call of the Weeks with an Infernus cycle. We're looking at a situation. I mean, I'm scanning the deck for other kind of creature control, but those double spoils are going to go off and off and off. As we're kind of, it's not a super quick deck, but I mean, we're talking about 2 Infernuses that I'm able to recycle, 2 spoils that I'm able to recycle,
Mm-hmm.
the Octavia, the Monument, double Octavia. We're going to talk about a board that you really can't disrupt, you know?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I agree. There is a sense that if Renato can build a board quickly, and I don't know how it's going to do it quickly, but it does have, I mean, it has 25 creatures, right? So it is just going
yeah.
to be spitting them out. Um, so it's like, when does Darius get the life ward? When does it get the streaks on the board? When is it able to get the Titan Librarians going? It's Untamed is beefy enough that it can fight stuff.
Mhm.
But I feel like if you're fighting and trying to remove the board, like Renato's kind of got the upper hand, even if you're able to remove stuff.
Yeah, so like personally, I would rather be playing the sloppy Labwork deck actually.
It's interesting.
And the reason is I think that you have a potential to have an explosive play.
Hmm.
I believe that I have inevitability with this control deck.
That's interesting.
So you may actually cheat that key on me, and I may lose. But I
Hmm.
think that the state of affairs in which I am able to produce a board that you cannot remove, and the state of affairs where I'm going to be purging things and take away all of your creature control, which is what, I mean, we're talking about a very, very good team here. They're going to
Hmm.
be targeting those very few pieces of creature control, and then I'm going to have a 25 creature board up in cost,
Right.
zapping away Ember, and I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything you can do.
No, I think that that's right, and it's there's a case of like when everything happens as far as timing is concerned, but it certainly does seem like unless you're getting really early untamed, like full moon key charge stuff, you're going to be behind the 8 ball as far as like keys just costing so much,
Right.
um, because they just will if they're setting up correctly, um, and again, it's like it's in every house, right? Because they've got the Faust and the Autovac and the key lock, and the obviously the double Infernus with all that stuff going on, double Cinder. I mean, yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, and the thing that I'd further kind of shout out to, and we'll move to next deck in a second here, but the last thing that I would want to say is the timing really matters for Darius.
Hmm.
The timing doesn't really matter for
Right,
Renato.
right. You
Like,
just play the creatures. Yeah.
yeah, and
You just
that's what I mean by inevitability, and like a shout out to Aurora for her article on Time Shapers about that, right?
mm-hmm.
But that's really what I mean by inevitability. Like Renato is just going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's
Darius
right.
needs to happen in specific order, and we're going to be able to take care of. There's not huge creature removal in Renato, but we're going to be able to take care of those librarians. We do have artifact removal,
Hmm.
uh, technically speaking, with the double snudge. If I can protect those, I can kind of keep that chip from going down every turn. Um,
Yeah.
No.
Hello. So we're with the captain game. We've got Captain Zanebar and Captain J.S. Russell.
JT Russell, not JS Russell, but yeah. So there's a mulligan there for Mr. Russell at the start. But look at that logos at the top.
Yeah, with having the Titan Librarian in hand, he's ready to go. It's perfect. That's what Zanebar's after. But starting with the street, basically saying, I have a way to slow you down even further, but you when I need speed. Got the Infernus, got the Sludge Infernus combo, but not able to use it, and we see a Cyberclone. That is a very nice answer to streak all the Titan Librarian.
2 Titan Engineers at the bottom.
Standardized testing gets rid of both Snudge and Dark Minion. This means that Zane is going to be able to set up both the Streak and the Titan Librarian, and then a comfort research just for the Amber because, oh, yeah, perfectly done. And now 3 cards in hand immediately archives the key charge. This is going to set up this is going to start a huge setup on Untamed. which is what Zane's going to be looking to do. Cyberclone to get rid of to purge the Titan Librarian takes the hand disadvantage.
Interesting.
Gets rid of Cyberclone with the Brady to draws an extra card. Plays Knowledge's power to archive a card. Yep, plus
Doesn't it?
2% of the archive. Another Logos turn. Fight streak. Fight streak. Do you play the Universal Keylock or discard?
At this point, play it because you may as well, but it's a hard one.
Interesting, very interesting on the discard there. I guess J Russell's expecting to be able to forge first here.
I don't know why he thinks that at the moment.
Well, looking at the Saurian in the deck and the capture capabilities that he's going to be able to set up, it kind of does make sense. Plus, that discard was a free archive, which helps a nice setup. And here we go. Second Infernus comes down.
That's right.
Comes down. That means both Infernus. No, that's the first Infernus.
That's the first Infernus, yeah.
On deck.
Yep.
Cold and Weak. Uses Shula to fight Dark Minion, which means Cold and Weak can target one of the 4 power creatures, gets rid of the Surge, shuts that combo down, plays the second Shriek, increases key cost when JT's got 0 amber.
But if you can, you should always increase key cost with Lash.
Yeah.
You never know if they're going to key cheat. Yep.
Plays the Even Iron, setting up the Steel. Uses the Automatic to archive your markers. Both players playing very conservatively with these archives. Double Titan Librarian in hand. With Cutthroat Research ready to go. This is going to be, so we're not only going to archive 1 this turn, but if JT does not have an answer for these little Titan Librarians, it's going to be a double archive next turn.
Potentially, yeah. Look at that hand of dinosaurs.
But we are in a disc turn, which means we're going to see Bramble come down to reduce amber. And there it is, bottom life of a creature. We now have an 8 power monstrosity. Now we know there's Untamed in the archive, but not choosing to pull it. It says yes, it's good, it'll be good for me to get them down now, but I can have even better hands later.
And I think that's
again.
And that's the right call to make, given Chosa just came out. I think. But let's see what there is.
I think it's the right call because one of those cards is key charge, and that is essentially Zane's win condition.
True.
Monument Octavia, we've got. Very interesting to just play everything. I guess going for wants to wipe the bottom, wants to be able to reap. Exalting and going for everything here. There's the spells of battle and a channel if you risk capturing absolutely everything. And then JT Russell on check for the first key, so the universal key lock would have only hurt here. That does appear to have been the correct choice. Now I like Autumn Coda with Blast from the Past because if JT wants to here, he can discard the Strix and then archive and then use Blast from the Past to archive it back up. But with Faust in the discard, I guess it's going to be a Blast from the Past on Faust, but we're going a Reap on Strix now. Infernus is going to be able to knock Zane down a little bit further. And then Infernus, Infernus going to knock it down. Cinder to protect Infernus. And Untamed pulls the archive. Full Moon.
Jeez.
With a dust, the Piranha Monkeys is going to pop the Dust Imp. Which means that's going to pop Zane right up to 7. The first key's already in hand. Plays Chota, there it is. Forges for 6 thanks to the fact that Chota gains 1. We get Nature's Call. You bounce the Piranha Monkeys again, bounces 3 creatures back up to Forge again. Plays Goalkeeper. Fights the Marble Swarm. Interesting choice there, but sure. And then boom, drops the Piranha Monkeys. I've just gone on a full repop train here. Plays the key charge. Forges for 7 again. 2 keys, 1 turn, and pops the Life Ward, which means all these creatures in hand, I can't do anything.
Oh. That's one hell of a turn.
This guy, JT does get the key after that, but it's unfortunate that the first key. Blast from the Past on the Faust. Uses Monument Octavia to capture 1. discard the Curse of Vitality to build up the archives, and now gone for the deck, which means that we've got double Titan Librarian in the hand, which is going to be huge. Looks like there was a bit of a mistake in terms of Gungoozle being played before a fight, but that's absolutely fine.
We've all been there.
Down, we can see the start of the Untamed building back up. While Choker's on the board, it's fine. Once it goes to discard of the deck, it becomes an issue again. Titan Engineer, Quick Zone, jump those key costs up to 8. It's 11 for JT at the minute thanks to Last Broken Dreams. There's another Cyber Clone. Very nice. Universal Keylock, you can't play the Universal Keylock. You need to be able to force that. Universal Keylock needs to be discarded very quickly. But another Spoils of Battle, another Blast from the Past with an Octavian in the discard means that you can capture 2, then capture another, exalt another one with the Blast from the Past, smack something for 5, and then Spoils of Battle to capture everything.
So now we know we can see Zane's hand. We know that Russell's got to get rid of those Untamed.
Yeah. Needs to reduce the key cost is currently 8, so it's safe at the moment because unfortunately Zane cannot produce 5 amber this turn.
He could have done before the killing of the Untamed, but yeah.
Yeah.
Plus you'll need 9 amber.
There's a lot of 6 cards in archive. JT has got a lot of fodder for the auto vat killer to increase key costs. But this is a very telling play here. Get yourself up to 7, dropping the piece on it, and fighting the Titan Engineers rather than reaping. Lets JT know that you've got answers in hand. You've got a key charge in the discard. There we go. So we've got another capture. Plays Curse of Vitality to exalt one of damaged creatures. This means that they're going to capture loads with the Shadow Keepers to spread out. Look at his Helper Bot being knocked up. Plays Blast from Past. Smashes the Helper Bot, gets up to 7. Double Infernus in hand. Keys currently cost 12 thanks to Faust. 0 amber for Zane, 9 amber for JT. Titan Librarian coming down. Igor sifting through this deck. The purging of the cards has actually helped Zane get through his deck quicker.
Yeah.
We know there's a full moon and there's 4 creatures. The full moon in the archive, 4 creatures in hand. This is a huge issue. Plays Bob Buxton to play Snudge with 2 Infernuses in hand. JT's in a very strong position if he can keep going. Uses auto back to increase the key cost to 10. Is very scared of key charge at this point.
Oh hell yeah.
Drops the Titan Engineer that he got from the draw, but unfortunately doesn't have an answer to play here. And now we see that in hand. Full moon, play. 3, 4, 5. Nature's Call. The creatures with amber on them back exactly up to 11, which is what we'll go up to 12 for the Nature's Call pip, which we put in key charge range. A very expensive last key, but if it wasn't for key charge, JT Russell had this one in the bag.
I think in the bag's a bit strong, but he had this one, yeah. I mean, this is
looking at the turn that he's about to play with the double Infernus, Stirring Grave. He would easily be able to get to 9 to counter the last Broken Dreams and knock down a lot of amber from Zane here. But
wow.
unfortunately, the key charge swings it.
That was impressive.